So, all right, so we'll talk about vasectomies for a minute. There's a meme going around that's saying that, 70% of guys who get vasectomies end up with chronic illnesses and insulin issues and all sorts of things. That's probably true. However, it's not from the vasectomies. There's you run through all of the actual things that mess up with vasectomies. You're going to have an increased, drop in the lymphatic function that you've got to clear out for. You got to work that in. You're going to have damage to the base sacral command center from an energetic standpoint. So you have to remediate that. You would have to do any surgery. And that's kind of it. What is important is that we start recognizing that, your diet, your exercise, your hormonal function, like that's the thing that makes you healthy, And so what people are trying to do is they're trying to find any excuse they can to be like, oh no, it was the vasectomy. Oh no, it's this thing over here. Oh no, it's this thing over here. It's a much bigger issue than that. It's not a one thing or whatever. It is the vast majority of people who are sick because they have nutrient deficiencies and they are not feeding their body nutrient-wise properly to handle what's going on. The body is a machine. It is, again, like I've said lots and lots of times, it's the most elegant and beautifully designed machine ever. You look at how God created the body and you're just like, wow, this is amazing. But it's a machine. And it requires chemicals to function. So, it's like baking a cake. I use this example all the time. If you have flour and you have sweetener, and you have oil and you have eggs, you can bake the cake. If you don't have eggs, you can't bake the cake. So, the vast majority of people that we see are wildly deficient in critical function. Testosterone being probably the number one thing I see, since we're specifically talking about men and vasectomies. Testosterone is probably the number one thing I see low. And it's funny because, the anti-God people really, really, really want you to think that testosterone is a drug because it is so amazing. People are like, oh, I feel so much better. My energy's up. I'm just getting my bone density's coming back up. My strength's coming back up. I feel great. The sex drives up. The orgasm function, it's so great. And they're like, oh, well, that has to be a drug. No, don't try to give man credit for God's design. Testosterone is wildly critical for health, reproductive function, everything. The reason it's illegal and super illegal to fully controlled substances is because George W. Bush decided that it, for some reason, should be illegal, and he made it illegal. Then he ran a smear campaign against it. That's what's going on. Which, when you look at it, you're like, well, what does low testosterone bring you? It brings you depression, brings you erectile dysfunction, brings you muscle wasting, brings you increase in fat. So we've got, 8 or 9 other things, weakens the blood vessels and heart and tissue, and everything in your body decays significantly faster without testosterone, because testosterone is literally the hormone that tells your body to heal, regenerate, and repair everything. So if you make that harder to come by, but then you allow atrazine and all these chemicals to go out that reduce testosterone levels, you're going to have a really sick group of people that have to return to drugs. The amount of men that I've helped, get their testosterone levels back where they're supposed to be, their erectile dysfunction goes away, their depression goes away, their energy comes up, their mental clarity comes back, their sleep function gets back, all the things they were taking drugs for, they don't need the drugs anymore. Because why? Because we moved to a different drug, testosterone? No, because we gave the body the chemicals it was requiring to have to function at its optimal function. That's it. So when we start looking at a lot of these chronic diseases, thyroid issues are one of my favorites. There's a couple different things that you need to factor in with your thyroid issues. One, T3 and T4. T3 has 3 iodines. T4 has 4 iodines. 80% of all the thyroid hormone you're going to make is T4, which means you need a gigantic amount of iodine to produce large quantities of thyroid hormone. Check your diet. How much iodine are you getting in? My guess is it's almost none. So there you go. You have a nutrient deficiency that is leading to the ineffective ability for your body to create thyroid hormone. So there you go. Well, if you have thyroid issues, one of the best things you can do is cut the carbohydrates out of your diet. Why? Well, because your thyroid really helps your body balance and level out glucose levels. So guess what? You quit eating glucose, your body doesn't have to work as hard to balance those glucose levels. And so your thyroid hormone can do all the other things it's supposed to be doing. So there you go. Again, what are we trying to talk to you about? lowering glycemic index, lowering glucose intake, lowering insulin functionality, because that's how we get healthy. And what has our medical system told us for the past 40 years? Grains, specifically high glycemic grains, need to be the basis for all of our diets. Everyone should be eating them as much bread and pasta as they possibly can, because carbohydrates give us energy. And then they talk about calories and all the other lies that they tell you. So this is the thing. Like when I tell you that the medical system, the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, is designing everything to make you as sick as possible so they can sell you drugs, I mean it. Every single thing that you've been told is a lie, designed to make you sick so that you have to, use more drugs. And they're going to come out and be like, oh, no. It's because of vasectomies. No, it's because of cannabis. No. It's because of this thing over here. Nope. At the end of the day, it's, did we get all the trash out of the body that needs to come out? And did we give the body all the chemicals it needed to function? That's it. So at the very basis of it, that's the thing. So now some of you, this is where it gets fun and interesting for people like me. Some of you guys, for instance, don't need folic acid. You need L-methyl tetrahydrofolate, because you have MTHFR issues. And so it's still a nutrient deficiency. It is the fully methylated form of folic acid that you don't have. And that's why your body can't run the processes it needs to run. That's it. You don't lack petrochemicals that was never designed for the human body to begin with. That's not it. You don't need the drugs. You don't need the vaccines. Your immune system works really, really well if you just let it give it a shot. You don't need these things. Especially from a group that's telling you that cholesterol is the reason we have heart attacks. Yeah. All right. But anyway, so vasectomies aren't going to create a whole lot of issues. It is entirely going to be what you're eating, what your hormonal levels are, how much exercise you're getting, the water you're drinking, the sunlight you're getting, the sleep you're getting, and then that's all your biochemical function. And the other 50% of it, what is you're doing with your emotional, psychological stability function? Because they drive each other. They're intimately knitted together. It's amazing when you look at it. So that's where you're going to get. And so if you're like, well, I'm going to avoid this vasectomy because I don't want to get sick, that has nothing to do with it. It is entirely of, are you getting in the nutrients? Are you denaturing the problems? And are you, moving your body? And then are you dealing with your psychological function? That's where it is. I got asked about this, so I wanted to kind of cover it. And I realized it sounds like a broken record. Everything comes back to, fueling the machine to make it function right. But that's literally all it is. I don't know what to tell you. So if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and ask. Hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com. Drop them in the comments, and we're going. Don't worry about the vasectomies. We haven't really seen a whole lot of super negative things from them. So, all right, thanks for your time. You guys have a fabulous day.